Devolution. This has become something of a buzzword over recent years. What does it really mean? How does it work? And do we even need it? For many years, there has been an outcry about how centralized the country's systems are. Everything happens in the big cities. In fact, everything seems to be run from Harare. They don't call the city Bambazonke for nothing. It's a city that always seems to take everything. Need an ID document? Go to Harare. Need to apply for a special license for your business? Go to Harare. Want somebody to stamp a document? Yes, catch the morning bus to Harare. In 2013, the people of Zimbabwe decided to change this. They voted in a new constitution. Under this constitution, we agreed that no province is more important than the other. Every district must be able to decide what's best for its community. They shouldn't have to catch a bus to Harare to deal with things that have to do with their local community. This is why devolution was provided for in the 2013 constitution.
The state of the nation.
So what is devolution? This is the transfer or delegation of power to a lower level, especially by the central government, to provincial or local. Here's what Section 264 of our Constitution says. Whenever appropriate, governmental powers and responsibilities must be devolved to provincial, metropolitan councils and local authorities which are competent to carry out those responsibilities efficiently and effectively. Why do we need devolution? Well, it gives the power of local governance to local people and provides for greater freedoms and flexibilities at a local level, meaning councils can work more effectively to improve public services for their area. That's the very essence of democracy. Who knows the needs of the community more than the community itself? An example of how this could possibly work is provincial areas are given powers to do things like set up courts, make laws, and regulate education, while the central government maintains power over things like national security and defense. In essence, devolution delegates tasks efficiently across national, provincial, and local government. But how will devolution actually work? So, what happens is that the central government will give some of its powers to provincial councils. These councils will represent the needs of their communities. Who sits in these councils? People such as local councillors, mayors, district council chairpersons, and other local political leaders. What about funding? Where does the money to fund these communities come from? Local authorities get a share off the national purse. There is now also provision under the Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency, ZIDA, to allow the channeling of investment and development through the special economic zones they have set up across the country. According to the law, at least 5% of the money the country raises every year must go to local authorities. In 2021, a total of $19.5 billion will go towards devolution. How are the districts using this money? Well, some of it are using it well, while others not so much. Some scandals have already begun to surface. We have heard reports that some community leaders are not consulting their people on how to use devolution funds. It looks like some have that disease that affects many public officials in Zimbabwe, the urge to buy cars. Some are doing okay. Here are a few examples from around the country on how devolution funds are working for the people. In Hurungwe, they have bought a borehole drilling rig. The people of Mwenezi decided to build 13 schools. In Makoni, they have built Ndrimbe Clinic. The Insiza community built 2 classrooms at Begezela School. The community in Murewa built a science block at Rocha School. In Chirimanzu, they built a water clinic. There are more projects in these areas and other parts of the country. Why are we showing you these? Because this is what devolution is all about. It's about locals deciding by themselves how they will want their affairs to be run. Communities know what they need more than a big politician who comes from Harare to make a speech. Devolution helps our local authorities deliver services faster. They should not have to go to Harare for a signature to work for their people. Here's another thing about devolution. Every problem will now have to focus on what it is good at. We know which provinces are bigger economically. It is unequal distribution. 39.5%, that's Harare province's share of the national economy. The other 9 provinces, they share the other 60.4%. Harare has a GDP of $3,614 per capita. Compare that to Midlands. GDP per capita there is less than $1,026. This is why it's important for every province to manage its own affairs. It must use its own resources to grow its economy. This doesn't mean that every province becomes its own country. No, we remain one country, but one that benefits from our rich diversity. This is why we can't wait to see what each province comes up with. We want to see how they brand themselves. Wouldn't it be great to see websites promoting what each province has to offer? From the tourism of Manika land in Matabeleland North to the agriculture in Mashonaland West and Central. Every province is unique. Let's see what they come up with. So, what do we need to make devolution work? First, we need to see these provincial councils set up and running. There have been too many delays in making this happen. Second, the legislation around devolution must be finalized. Third, we need a lot of training. Not everyone is good at project management or managing finances. There must be structures to make sure there's accountability. Fourth, we will also need us, as the people, to get more involved. We must monitor how things are going. Are we doing the right projects? Is our money being used properly? We must always be ready to blow the whistle when things are not going according to what we agreed. Lastly, there has to be policy consistency across provinces. What is decided upon at national government level needs to also be reflected at local level. For example, Zimbabwe is aiming to have a prosperous upper middle income economy by 2030. Projects that the local governments engage in need to be geared to ensure that this becomes a living reality for its constituents. So yes, devolution is a good thing. We're not reinventing the wheel here. It has worked in other countries. The projects that local districts are already doing show us that there is potential for success, but a lot more can be done. And it all starts with all of us being more active in our communities. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.